Yes, well, we capsized off the Cap de la Chèvre. And so,
Jean-Marie et Ras, si vous pouvez faire le relais aux SNS qui sont dans le coin, levée du dispositif pour Brest 2016, parce que je viens de faire la diffusion, mais j'ai pas eu de retour de leur part.
and so everything's drying out.
À toute SNSM du dispositif de Brest 2016, vous avez liberté de manœuvre. Je répète de Cross-Corsen, vous avez liberté de manœuvre.
So why did we capsize? Well, it's the usual story, overconfidence. We were sailing fairly hard on the wind towards the Cap de la Chèvre, and the wind was strengthening, and I was about 20 minutes off my waypoint for rounding the cape. I decided that I needed to reef. Although I could probably have got to the Cape, and then we would have borne off the wind and run into the Bay of Douarnenez at the tide. I decided it was getting a bit pressured and that I would reef. And so I went up into the wind. As the boat came through the wind, paid off on the other tack with the main sheet cleated on the windward side, and it just flipped her over. And she went over and laid on her side, which was all very comforting, except you think, oh, right, I'm going to have to get this boat up again. And I'm not a great believer in swimming around and coming up the other side, so I clambered over the top and dropped onto the keel and brought her up again, and then clambered in over the side, which all went very well. And then I dropped the sail, and the water in the boat was a little under the height of the all I can remember is the French word pump, and the electric pump was on, so that started pumping. However, this is where the complacency gets in, because I had been recharging you little camera, and my phone in order to control you little camera. The lid of the battery box was on the battery box, but not clamped down. And so I thought, water will be getting in there. So the first thing I actually did was clamp that down with the water around. And the pump still was running. And I started pumping by hand as well. And various things floated off, like one water bottle and a life jacket that Mary had been using, which wasn't lashed down, and an oar, which was a bit unfortunate. I saw these all vanishing off, and I thought, oh, I better get sailing again and try and get after them. But when you were washing, it was actually quite lumpy, so I could stop pumping, but I wasn't going to get after anything all that quickly. So it does make you think that I need to make sure that important objects like oars don't go vanishing off into the blue yonder. Well, a guy on a not a jet ski, one of these motor skidoo motor floating motorbikes turned up and bounding across the waves. And he said, do you want any help? And I said, oh, no, we're fine. We're upright again. Everything's, we're pumping it out. I was pumping away. Everything's doing well. But it'd be really nice if you'd go off and find my oar. I didn't much worry about anything else, but oars are expensive. Anyway, he did. He came back with my oar, and indeed the life jacket and various other bits and pieces, including many bottles of alcohol de brûlée that had floated out of this locker in the sole, which doesn't have a catch. So children ought to have a catch. So, yeah. Then a yacht came along and said, do you want any help? Would you like a tow? And I thought, well, I could say no. But the trouble is, if you do that, it's a bit like you're refusing help. And I thought, well, it'd be nice to get further in towards the shore and then I could, the waves will be a bit less, and I'll be able to sort of bail out and sort myself out in rather more of a leisurely way. And that picking up tows, you know, you think, is this going to work? Is having the tow going to be worse? Is it going to compound the situation? But actually they were pretty good. They threw me a rope and I tied my painter to it, and off we went very slowly towards shelter. And then I had not been sending out any SOS calls on the VHF because I thought, you know, it's fine really. And but anyway, other people had. So presently a sort of inshore patrol boat of the Affaire Maritime turned up, and they said to the yacht, we'll tow this guy, you don't need to worry yourselves over this. And so they then passed me a tow rope, and this got really complicated because they were astern of me and the tow rope was coming aft here, and I don't want to sound ungrateful, but it was very stressful, and they were right next to me and I was banging into the side of them awash, and I was thinking, I'm not sure that this rescue is much better than not being rescued. Indeed, I rather think it's worse than not being rescued. However, after a bit of shouting and waving of arms and strong language, we did sort all that out, and they did tow me not in straight into the shore, but they clearly felt that this is the trouble, when you allow yourself to be towed, you lose control, and I could sort of see that coming. I did, you know, but then it would have taken me forever to bail out where I was, and I would never have got the oars and things back. I don't think by the time I got sailing again, I'd have known where they were, even if I sailed, you know, straight downwind. Well, you never know, but it seems unlikely. So they took me in sort of to the shore, and while they were towing me, I pumped everything out and got sort of organised. And as the boat rose in the water, everything got a bit more sensible and looked a bit less like I was a complete casualty. And finally, then they said, "Well, we can't just leave you here." They sort of towed me into shelter just around the point over there. So we had a bit of a debate about what was going to happen. The thing is, I suppose it was a rescue, and they have to sign me off as being taken to a place of safety, and one understands that. So finally, with a bit of actually going on board their boat, and me saying, "Oh, I don't want to go there," and they saying, "Oh, well, we think you should go there," and me saying, "Well, I can't go there because the wind's in the wrong direction," and that sort of conversation. We agreed that they would, that they'd let me sail into here. So this is where I am. And then, having arrived here, they followed me like a little shepherded me round. And then they said, "Oh, there we are. Yes, you're fine." So I've got anchor here, and it's not so bad actually. Indeed, it's actually pretty good. Indeed, it's probably the right choice. So I'm not criticising anyone. I just sort of want to explain that just being rescued is not, you know, you can't really just completely put yourselves in the hands of the rescue people, because they don't understand little boats. They really needed it was very, very stressful when they were right alongside and I was bashing into them, and their tow rope was wrapped round, and it was wrapped round me, and it was all, yes. But anyway, it's all sorted out, and here I am. I've got anchor. As you can see, various charts are being dried out. These are all on greased paper, so they will dry out fine. But it is interesting. You see, I get used to this boat not capsizing, and I'm looking. Some things that were in plastic bags were fine, and then other things weren't in plastic bags. And you think, why weren't they in? Just a simple, show you, these pills here were just in a simple freezer bag, and they were fine. And I had everything had been in something like that in the stern locker. Less would be sitting out here in the sun drying. So don't get overconfident. Don't get overconfident is today's message. That said, things pretty much worked, but it would have been very nice not to have had a battery box full of seawater. Yeah, that lid should have been clamped down. But this is, it's all good lessons. One day something like this will happen to you, and it's all very salutary. And it's a good thing. It is a good thing. So what is now going to happen is I'm somehow going to spend the night here. I think I'll go a bit closer in. There's no, it's just a bay with cliffs all around. There's no town or port or anywhere in here. But there was quite a strong wind out there, but in under here it's not. It's really quite calm, and it's lovely and sunny. It's extraordinary. And look, all my clothes have dried, considering I was practically swimming, really. So that's my story of my rescue off the Cap de la Chèvre.